The Avro 679 Manchester was a British twin-engine heavy bomber developed and manufactured by the Avro Aircraft Company in the United Kingdom, while not being built in great numbers. It was the forerunner of the famed and vastly more successful four-engined Avro Lancaster, which was one of the most capable strategic bombers of the Second World War. The Manchester has its origins in a design produced by Avro in order to fulfill the British Air Ministry's Specification P1336. This was the same specification to which Handley Page had also produced their initial design for what would become the Halifax bomber. Issued in May 1936, Specification P1336 called for a twin-engine monoplane medium bomber for worldwide use, which was to be capable of carrying out shallow 30-degree M-dive bombing attacks and carry heavy bomb loads of 8,000 pounds or 218 in torpedoes. The Avro design used the Rolls-Royce Vulture 24-cylinder X-block engine, which was two Rolls-Royce Peregrine V-cylinder blocks mounted one on top of the other, the bottom one inverted to give the X shape. While the Manchester was designed with a twin tail, the first production aircraft, designated the Mk1, had a central fin added, and 20 aircraft like this were built. They were succeeded by the Mk1A, which reverted to the twin-fin system but used enlarged, taller fin and rudders mounted on a new tailplane, with span increased from 22 feet to 33 feet. The Avro Manchester was designed with great consideration for ease of manufacture and repair. The fuselage of the aircraft comprised longitudinal stringers or longerons throughout, over which an external skin of aluminum alloy was flush riveted for a smooth external surface. Vulnerable parts of the aircraft were armored. The pilot had additional armor and bulletproof glass and an armored bulkhead. Was to the rear of the navigator's position? The Manchester featured three hydraulically operated turrets, located in the nose, rear, and mid-upper fuselage. The addition of a ventral turret directly behind the bomb bay had been considered and tested on the second prototype, but did not feature on production aircraft. The Manchester was powered by a pair of Vulture engines. In service, these proved to be extremely unreliable. Aviation author John Lake stated of the Vulture, "The engine made the Manchester mainly notable for its unreliability, poor performance, and general inadequacy to the task at hand," and attributed the aircraft's poor service record to the engine troubles. On the 5th of August 1940, the first production Avro Manchester, L7-76, was delivered to RAF Boscombe Down in advance of service acceptance trials in November 1940. The Manchester officially entered service with the newly reformed No. 207 Squadron of RAF Bomber Command. The Manchester's first operational mission was conducted on 24-5 February 1941 in a raid on the French port of Brest. On the 13th of March 1941, L7319 became the first Manchester to be shot down by enemy fire. On the 13th of April 1941, all Manchesters were temporarily grounded due to a higher than expected number of engine bearing failures. On the 16th of June 1941, a second grounding of the type was ordered due to more engine troubles. The unserviceability of the Vulture engine forced squadrons to make use of obsolete bombers such as the Hampton in its place. Upon the restart of operations in August 1941, additional failings were encountered: excessive tail flutter, hydraulic failures, and faulty propeller feathering controls. Production of the Manchester was halted in November 1941, by which point a total of 200 aircraft had been constructed. A total of 8 bomber squadrons were equipped with the type. It also served into further squadrons and also saw use by RAF Coastal Command. On the 7th of November 1941, All of the RAF's serviceable bombers had been dispatched to Bomberland. Out of a force of over 400 bombers, only 15 were Manchesters. On the 3rd of March 1942, out of a force of nearly 200 bombers sent against a Renault factory near Paris, 25 were Manchesters, while during the first 1,000 bomber raid on Cologne on the 30th of May 1942, 35 Manchesters were amongst the 1,047 bombers sent to attack the city. The 193 operational Manchesters flew 1,269 sorties with Bomber Command, dropping 1,657 tons of bombs and lost 78 aircraft in action. Flying its last operation against Bremen on the 25th of June 1942. A further 45 were non-operational losses, of which 30 involved engine failure. The Manchester was withdrawn from operations in mid-1942 in favor of more capable aircraft. Its final role in RAF service was as instructional trainers for converting crews to the RAF's new Lancaster bombers. The Manchester and Lancaster shared nearly identical crew positions and fuselages. The type persisted in use for training purposes into 1943 before being completely retired. That's all for today. Until next time, bye.